are on we're on the last little bit of this First Corinthians 13. We've been looking at all the things that love is, and a lot of these things have a lot of similarities. You know, this is a list of all of these qualities that tell you exactly what love is, and really they're all one thing. Essentially, they're all what it is to be loving. So there's a lot of overlap. And, I thought, man, I could have gone through this faster. I could have, knocked it out in a week. Could have flown through it, or I could have really drug it out. But I feel like it's hard to know where to draw the line. But I feel like, man, this has been so good for me just to take this time just to kind of soak in this, just to saturate in thinking about what love actually is, and am I actually carrying it out? It's just been something that I feel like, even if it has a slight repetitive nature, like this is something that we certainly need to grasp and really need to make sure that we're taking the time to make application of this. So I guess I'm okay with it carrying on just a little bit, because it's been so beneficial to me, and I hope it's been beneficial to you. So we looked at this list of Paul talking here, and he says that love is patient, and it is kind, and it does not envy, and it does not boast, it is not arrogant, and it is not rude, it does not insist on his own way, it is not irritable, it is not resentful. It says it does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. And this verse 7, I think this is my favorite verse. This has got to be one of the all-time great verses of the Bible. There are many, many, but it says that love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. And, again, this is not my normal method of preaching. I think, man, if someone's visiting, they're going to think, boy, he sure rambles a lot. But, my normal method of preaching is to take a big text of Scripture and say, this is what the author is saying, this is what he's telling you, and I try so hard not to throw my own opinion in there, because who knows if my opinion is any good. But once again, where it's just kind of this novel thing where we're trying to just express what each one of these words are, and it's hard to find any other way to do that, but just, trying to give my opinion of what these words are. So I apologize that this is not what I would call a healthy way to always teach. I like to teach the Bible, but we're trying to do this. So as we look at this next one, number 12, it says that love believes all things. So I was at Rich Klopford's one day, and there was construction going on down the way. I don't know what it was last summer. There's construction in Doge for quite a while. But I could hear this jackhammer, or whatever. We could hear this noise as, and it was going on, and I'd stopped by. I was sitting on the back deck, and Rich leans over. He's like, you hear that woodpecker? And I was like, yeah. He's like, man, that thing has been going all day. And I was like, man, that's loud. It must be like a huge dead tree or something. I just totally believed it, And I was like, that is such a loud woodpecker. And I don't remember who else was there, but he leans over and he's like the preacher. He believes anything. So love believes all things. I must be one of the most loving people there is, But no, I don't think that gullible is quite what he's digging at here. I don't think it's the gullible sense in us that believes anything. You've heard the saying that love is blind. Love doesn't see flaws. It doesn't see faults. And I don't think that's precisely it, but I would say that's definitely getting warmer. It's getting closer. In the Greek, this word is pasteuo. I don't know. I can't, I always butcher those words. But who cares what the word is pronounced like? But it has the idea of this general faith, this like believing the good in, or having a trust in people, like this faith and this trust, and it's like they believe all things, and I don't think it's that they're stupid or naive. But they want to believe the best in people. They want to give that, they want to put that foot forward, if you know what I'm saying. It's not that love is entirely blind, but sometimes it's making a choice, if you can follow what I'm saying. So Why does Paul say that love believes all things? Wouldn't that make you either naive or maybe vulnerable? Wouldn't it kind of expose you to being like, well, you believe all the things, isn't like, aren't you just exposing yourself to a disaster? Like you're trusting someone you shouldn't. And, I think that there's a certain level of discernment that goes with this, but I think that this is something amazing, and I shouldn't be surprised at the Bible. But I am. Like, the things the Bible understands never ceases to, like, blow my mind of, like, man, the way Paul describes this and the way he brings this out, that love believes all things. Like, I wouldn't have come up with this. Like, if I was writing these lists, I wouldn't have always come up with the things he comes up with. But I think about it and I'm like, yes. Like, if you've ever met someone who, I just feel like it's like, I don't know, an X factor, if you will. Like this like thing that you're like, whoa, yes, that does go with someone who is loving. And I wouldn't have realized that right off. But if you ever met someone who is a trusting, believing person, it's such an amazing thing. It's such this great quality. And when two people get married and they meet each other's long-term friends, some of those friends need a lot of grace. They've been your long-term friends, but you meet them and you think it would almost take their mother to love them. You think, why are these your friends? Like what do you see in these people, right? Like how did they become your friends? And the first time you sit down with your in-laws, your new in-laws, right? And you meet them, and the truth comes out, and they're crazy. And they all are, right? They are. A lot of them, right? Let's be honest here, But you sit there and you think, you're sitting in supper and, one of them starts to cry and you don't know why and you're just like, this is so weird. And then they get in this argument and you're like, come on, people, and if you were to, pull your spouse aside and say, we're going to have to get all new friends. I can see that for you, and new family or something like, we got to ditch these people, you got to ask, why do they, what do they see in these people? What do they see in them? And when you first meet them, you may not see that, but they love them. And because they love them, they're seeing something in them. They've got kind of a faith in them, right? They've got this, that they want to see the best and they're wishing for the best in them, right? And they love them, so they're not just writing them off. They have this continual faith in these people. And they're willing to see the good in these people. And, I don't think it's necessarily blind or it's necessarily stupid, but it's just that ability to give people the benefit of the doubt, that you're willing to not quickly make these judgments against people, that you're willing to give them that chance. You know what I'm saying? And, maybe you just look at these people and you're meeting them and you say, maybe I caught them at a bad time, and you're giving them that grace, or maybe you say, it seems like that could have been taken pretty hurtful to me. I could take a lot of offense at that, but you know what? My belief, that trust I have in them, that I'm giving them that grace that I'm offering to them, if you know what I'm saying. You're saying, you know what? I'm going to say that I don't believe they meant it that way. I'm going to have that trust, I'm going to say I'm not going to take this terrible offense and just cast them off. I'm going to give them that. Yeah, I would say that this trust is almost like a grace, that you're saying, like, you have this belief in them. You're giving that, and it's such a beautiful thing. And they may not be perfect, but you're willing to give them every chance. You're willing to give them every benefit of the doubt, and that's part of love. And how many of us have ever been in a certain place or a certain circumstance where you needed probably you hope that you look back on that incident and you think, man, I hope that they would give me some grace or some benefit of the doubt. This is totally not in my notes, but it's coming to my head right now. I was coaching a basketball game yesterday, and there's 9 seconds left on the clock, and we're up by 1 point. So I told this boy, I was like, just dribble the ball down real slow and just keep dribbling it and just go around and just try and drain that 9 seconds off and we'll be done. Well, he stopped short of the half-court line, and they can't cover him before the half-court line. And I was screaming, cross the line, because I mean, this is little kids. I felt it was I felt like it was unethical that they couldn't at least cover him, I was like, go across, and he stayed on that side, and I felt like, I hope that the other team isn't mad, oh my goodness, what a cheesy way to end the game. I was like, I hope that they give me that belief and benefit of the doubt, right? You count on that in people, right? I was like, I did want him during the clock, but I didn't want him to stay where they couldn't cover him, and I just felt so guilty, I felt like, oh, they're probably thinking terrible of me. But you count on people to give you that benefit of the doubt. So that belief in people is something that you would ask of them as well, right? It's this great quality of someone who's loving. Love believes the best in people, and when you see someone like that, really, they shine like this beacon of love. You just look at them and you think, is there any hatred in this person? You see someone like that who gives people that belief and trust, and you think, man, they are a wonderful person. You just think, there's just this lack of hatred down inside of them. They are very, very loving, and they're not necessarily stupid. They see these things, but they are kind to the core. You know what I'm saying? They're willing to give everyone that chance. And, the opposite of this would be someone who's judgmental. And they're like, if you've ever been around somebody and they're talking to somebody, oh, yeah, they're having a great time, and this person leaves, and they're like, I can't stand that person. They're just such a, this, and they just tell you all the worst in that person. And you think, what are they going to say when I walk away? How can that be a loving person? Because, how much better, it's not like you have to be blind to the problems. You try and help people. You may even, out of love, bring them up, but yet you give them that you're seeing the best in people. It's hard to explain, and I don't know if I've ever gone on such a rant, and I'm probably going to go over because I'm really, what a hard thing to express, but what an amazing thing that love is, that I just feel like, man, this text pulls out just the greatest things and the greatest, best qualities that I respect in people, and I've just realized where this all comes from, and I've just loved this as we've gone through this. But so it has its limits, but they try to see the best in people, and they give people that trust and that belief in them. So as we look at this next one here in number 13, it says that love hopes all things. And, this is a very similar to believing all things. It's a very, like I say, a lot of these qualities is hard to teach on together because they're really complementing each other. They're really kind of flowing together. To believe all things is very similar to hoping all things. This word hope in the Greek is elpidzo. Probably butchered that too. But anyway, this means either to hope or to have a hope that has become trust or faith, like you believe it's actually going to happen. And it is so strong that it's like even if you didn't know for certain it was going to happen, you're going to carry your end of the deal because it's a very strong hope that really borders on faith. It's almost like it's like anyone, for any practical sense of the word, would say that you believe it's going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet. It's a very, very, very strong hope is what the word kind of comes across as. So hoping all things. And, maybe you've been calling on some certain person for a long time, and you've been investing in them for a long time, and maybe other people have said, you know what, they're a jerk, they're just, throw it off, and you're hoping. And you're hoping to the extent that you're willing to invest. You're willing to carry on. You're willing to press on and continue. It's really, I feel like it's a positive attitude. Maybe a good way to describe it is you believe there is hope. You really believe there's hope, and you don't get negative. You say with God and with prayer, this can happen. I'm going to continue on. It's that you have a hope in people, that you really give them that hope and the energy that comes with it. When other people throw in the towel, you're still continuing on. You're still pressing on. As a result of that, I think that people who are loving, they are generally very hard workers, because they're continuing maybe when other people give up. And they're just like, what, maybe things seem like they're falling apart around here. Not necessarily around here, but they say that. It feels like things are falling apart around here. But because they hope, they trust. And so they're like, what do we got to do? We got to pick up the pieces and we got to get to work. We got to press on. There's hope. We can do this. We got to, what is the work that needs to be done, right? Like there is hope, so let's apply. Let's do it. Let's pick up pieces. Let's put them together. Let's press on, because with there's hope there's this faith. And with that, I believe it really generates into a working attitude that if you have hope, you do the work, right? It's that these loving people are putting in the effort because of the hope that they have. So it's just picking up the task at hand and just that hope that pushes you to the point of believing that you can do these things. So I think of Paul in Romans, and he talks about how his brothers, the Jewish people, they're hard-hearted and they've rejected God, and God has sent him to go preach to the non-Jews. And Paul is just torn. He's wishing that he could be accursed for their sake. He's like, if I could be accursed, that they would believe. He says, but the truth is I have to go to the Gentiles. But he says, I have this hope. He says, I'm hoping they'll become jealous. And he says, and I'm hoping that by my ministry, I can somehow expand it, and I'll never give up hoping they'll believe. He says, I'll do this with hope that they receive Christ. He says, I'll work towards that goal, though it seems unreachable. He has this hope. He hopes, and it's generated from his love for these people. He's just going to work and press towards the goal that other people may think seems out of reach. So this very last quality here, number 14, love endures all things. And I think that this is in similarity, this is a very similar to things that we've covered so far. I think this really wraps up ending all of this very well, because bearing all things is very similar to enduring all things. If you remember when we talked about bearing all things, like bearing the weight, bearing the load, pressing on, carrying on, continuing, and believing, and hoping, and enduring all things. And they're all related in a very strong person. That a loving person carries on and does this very difficult life. That they really press on and endure through something that's really not maybe what their body is telling them would be the easiest route. If you remember all the things that we've looked at, that they are selfless, that they're also they're not blowing off steam in a fit of anger, that they're not blowing off steam and rage, that they're containing their feelings in patience. That love is patient. When they're going through all these things, they're just continuing on in this endurance of keeping themselves together and not losing control. And, they're just, they're not giving up when other people are giving up. They're just continuing on, though it may be really hard and maybe the unloving world is going against them. Paul says one of the things he listed was they refuse to be irritated. They not become irritated. They just pick up and they carry and they endure. They press on. They bear all things. They go through all things, and they keep themselves out of it. The self-centered attitude, they're not selfish. They're not irritable. They're very patient, and they continue, and they bear, and they carry, and they endure. They go through. It's a very, very strong list of qualities that you just have this strength that you go through. And here in closing today, if you just have any idea how hard it is to be a loving person, it's not easy. To your baby, it's easy. To outsiders, get past little children, or maybe get past like the nicest person on earth, and it's not always easy. You have this desire that your body is screaming inside of you. Just cut your own path in life. Just you know what? People in this house and this church are not being fair to me, so I'm going to get irritable, I'm going to get frustrated, I'm going to get turned to myself, and I'm just going to clear a path and say, make it easy for me. That's what your body's going to be telling you. It is not easy to apply love, but we've looked at for a couple weeks now the importance of it and how important. I just want to encourage you to apply these things, just to be strong. Like, I think one of this last quality, this enduring all things, I would encourage you, be strong. Like, commit to applying these things. Don't think this is going to be easy or something. Like, just think about these things and apply them. And on that note, there's this commercial on TV, and I always get a kick out of it because Simi is fascinated by this commercial. But in this, it's a Progressive, automotive insurance or something, but it's this Progressive commercial. And because of COVID, they're all having this Skype board meeting, And so all you see on your TV is all their computer screens. And somebody, I don't remember if it's that Flo or somebody, she's got her screen way zoomed in, you can't really see her. I'm not sure it's her, but it's one of these people in this advertisement. And she's like, "Can you see me?" And Simi's always like, "No." And he's been doing this for almost like a year, so it's just so cute. He's so convinced they're talking to him, And anyway, there's this Jamie, and he's this scrawny, nerdy guy in the commercial or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry if I look all bad. I didn't get my beard routine in this morning. I didn't get my beard routine." And they're all looking at him. He's got just like a couple little whiskers, like you can't even really see anything. And they're like, beard routine? And this one guy asks, he's like, "Jamie, do you even know what a beard is?" And so I would ask, applying this to us, what we claim about love, would someone say, "Jamie, do you even know what love is? Do you, like, what are you saying when you say you love?" Because love is hard work. Just the sacrificial, believing the best out of people, giving them the benefit of the doubt, not becoming irritable, not lashing out, not unwilling to carry the heavy work and the load on yourself, not, when you're doing your daily routines and it's hard and you don't feel like it's maybe fair, or maybe you're doing more than your fair share, and you don't become irritable, you got to drive on and carry and bear and lift up and endure and believe the best in the people around you. Like, you think that's easy? I would ask, do you know what love is? And we would like, we probably all should be asked that at certain points, just in closing this out, it's just been so great, and just the amount of thought that I've put into this. And I thought, love is really what God uses to grow his church. And as I've looked at this, I thought, man, love is majorly the qualities of the elders and deacons in the board, that they would be these patient and not quick-tempered and calm individuals that are willing to and able to carry these things out. And not only that, but it's the fruit of the Spirit. It is what Christianity is based on, that is this, love, joy, peace, gentleness, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, all these self-control, all of these things. This love is what Christianity, this is what God wants of us. This is the royal law. This is Christ's desire for us, that we would be to apply this hard thing that he asks of us here. Like, how much of our life is just this demand to put this into effect? And do we know what love is? Do we think we do, or do we apply this thing? This is the, I don't know, it's some sort of end all to what Christ asked of us. And I'm guessing I've gone a little bit over today, so we better wrap this up. But I hope that I respect, and so does God, anyone who applies these things and be strong and apply these things. Just as it's so important. So let's pray.